Okay, we are officially live on social media, and today is Wednesday, February 17th, and we have special guest Seth Glauberman, CEO of Malco Products Incorporated. And we want to go ahead and get him in to introduce him so those who don't know him could understand who Seth is and his background and how he came into the world of detailing. And then, of course, understand Malco products and what they represent and what they bring to the table for those that may not be familiar with them. That way people can be more familiar with the product line and hopefully even try it out, because they definitely have quite a few hidden gems in their lineup. Great lineup in general, but some pretty cool stuff that I've played with as well. So with that said, we have Seth Glauberman, who's been in the industry, over 16 years. He has some years himself of detailing in the trenches in the field, to say, of doing it himself, and just like the rest of us in our younger years. And just want to go ahead and dive into Seth. Tell me a little bit more and introduce yourself, but also tell me a little bit more about how you got started in your young years of this wonderful world of detailing.
Yeah, no, well, Justin, first I want to thank you and Buff and Shine and Reflection Artist. I'm really excited just to be here and hang out with you for the hour and kind of talk shop and the industry. So I'm really excited and thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I probably have to start a little bit of just Malco Products. So Malco Products is actually a family company. My grandfather actually started it in 1953, and it's actually, Malco stands for Murray, Abe, and Lionel. So Murray was my grandfather, Abe was my great grandfather, and Lionel was my great uncle. And so it really was started as a family business, back in 53. And so, growing up, I was always into cars, and really into skiing and rock climbing and mountain biking. And I actually needed to get a job. And my dad offered me a job when I was like a freshman. And it actually was to work in our lab dumping retains, because when you make a product, you hold it for a couple of years just for quality and stuff like that. And the next year he asked if I wanted to come back, and I said no. I was like, actually, I'll find my own job, because I sat on a bucket, dumping retains with a boombox for a summer. And then a couple of years later, I was really into cars, and I was talking to my uncle, because at the time it was my dad and uncle that were running the business. And my uncle was like, you should start detailing cars. So I was like, sure, let's do it. And I had the benefit, because I got to come to a detailing company where, little did I know that, I had a technical person that was like, teaching me along the way. And they were like, you should just start calling family friends and offering details. And probably the thing that I was, which was great, although I didn't realize, was I had no overhead and no product cost. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. I saw
best scenario ever.
It's like pure profit. I mean, isn't every detailer just like that? And I remember
right?
my uncle, and I remember my uncle being like, well, usually you have to pay rents and you might have employees and you definitely don't get free product. But it was really a great way to just learn the products. And there is no better way to learn than just using the products, being confident, having someone that, can teach you the right way to do things. And, and if I think about it, so I was 16, 17 years old. So that was back in 96, 97. We didn't have the social media, the electronic connection with QR codes and Instagram.
You had a phone with a cord still on it, and you had to knock on your friend's door to see if they were home.
Exactly. So I was really, it was really, that really created the foundation of my knowledge in the detailing industry. Probably more about the product and less about what it takes to run a business successfully, since it was pure profit.
But it also drove a passion for you, correct?
For sure.
The craft side of detailing.
Yeah. And that's probably, like you talk about that. That's what I miss most about this year is, I used to travel all the time. I haven't gone anywhere since, March. And so it's that connection and being able to go learn and see how people do things. Because detailing is a business, but it's also an art. And I think that's the piece that, if you said, what do I miss the most over this year? It's probably that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Even though I'm here in the shop doing it, but there's still aspects of it where I like to jump in because of that passion of being like, man, I got to get my hands on something to polish or
Yeah.
clean
Or even,
yeah.
you get to travel, you get to go places and work with other people and other companies. And you just, every time you go see someone, you learn a new perspective, a new way to look at something.
Yeah.
And now we're all trying to figure out how to do it, virtually and remotely.
Yeah. They just detail the car virtually. Yeah. Just put your car in front of a Zoom camera and poof. Look at that.
It's done.
It's done.
Isn't that the Instagram before and after photos?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really how I got into it. And I always had a passion for cars, so it was kind of easy to be around them. I mean, I remember going to my buddy's house and we would wash our cars when we were in high school. Just, that's what you did.
So with that, I mean, you said you spent a couple summers doing that, and the money that you did receive, I mean, did you end up putting that towards school to kind of help yourself financially for some of that stuff?
It probably was more hobbies. So it funded passion and hobbies. And I to be honest.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's your money. You do what you want with it, right?
Exactly.
So. And then, so from there, you said there was a little bit of a gap between, your summer spent detailing and through school before you, joined the team with Malco and the family. Where were you in between there?
Yeah. So one of the cool things was I never, with a family company, I think everybody finds their way or joins in different ways. It could be, you're just supposed to, it could be that there isn't pressure. For me, what was neat was my family, other than my grandmother, which was, Murray's wife, no one ever pressured me to come into Malco. It was almost like I got to choose it on my terms, which I think is what allowed me to come here and really want to be here and be dedicated to the brand, the industry, and driving it. It wasn't like, my dad said, hey, Seth, you just, when you graduate college, you're coming back and working in the family business, which was really cool. But before I joined, I actually spent some time out in Colorado as a winter driving instructor. So there's actually a driving school in Steamboat called the Bridgestone Winter Driving School. And people will sometimes say that I'm persistent. So I actually wanted to be a driving instructor. And so I called the owner like every 3 days for 3 months trying to get a job. And I was like, I don't care what the job is. I just want to work for you. Because like the idea of being allowed to slide cars legally was really cool.
That's awesome.
So finally, I think he was tired of me pestering him. And so he gave me a job. I actually started as grooming the track. And then from there, and driving the bus. And then from there, eventually, I started to shadow the instructors and I got to teach people how to slide cars. Wow. And they have like a 1.5 mile road course paved in ice and snow, which is pretty cool.
Wow. So I know if I ever need a getaway driver, and we're in the same town to the same place.
And actually, it's a really small world, but I don't know if you know who Travis Benzig is. He's actually from Steamboat. He's part of the detail mafia and has been on the, he's detailed Air Force One before, but him and I actually worked at the driving school together. So you think about like the connection, and wow. Now we actually use him to test products from time to time when we want someone, in the mountains to do product testing for us. So
that is a small world. That's funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
It's very cool. So with that said, then, moving forward, how did the opportunity present itself for you to, join the family team with everything with Malco?
Yeah. So really it started with, I was actually trying to decide if I was going to join the business or not, or stay out West. And really what drove it was, my passion for the automotive industry. And I actually was, it was that really allowed me to, kind of look at it and say, hey, I have an opportunity to come into a business that, lives and breathes the automotive industry. We sell detailing products. We, get to work with people all the time. And that really was kind of the excitement that brought me back.
There's a lot that can be said about that, because I'll tell you, everybody I talk to, for the most part, the passion side of it is what's driven them into the craft of detailing, or continuing a legacy of a brand within the detail industry, like for yourself with Malco.
Yeah.
And, not just being like, hey, I get to work for this company because, it's part of the family, yada, yada. The traditional take on that would be, oh, you got involved because your family owns it, but it's not that at all. It's more about the passion of the automotive spirit of being like, wow, I could enjoy what I do and help kind of mold the industry for this sector of the industry, to say.
No, exactly. And probably the other piece was, all it was an opportunity. And and the opportunity just gives you a platform to build off of. It's what you do with it that really defines, your legacy and how you do things. So it wasn't as much, coming in and it was, oh, your dad owns the company. It was, hey, you have an opportunity to really do something special, and you have a platform that just happens to be, in the automotive industry, which is one of your passions. So,
Yes.
From that standpoint, I feel really fortunate and lucky that, there was this company that I could sink my teeth into and really passionately be excited about growing and building.
Yeah, well said. Now, as you entered in, how many positions did you have to play? I mean, because right now with you being CEO, obviously you're the head of everything, but where did you start, and how did you end up having to move up that food chain, to say?
Yeah, so I actually started as an engineer. I studied mechanical engineering in college. So I actually started as an engineer on the floor, looking at process improvements. And I remember when I came in, I was like, Dad, what do you want me to work on? And he actually gave me a notebook and told me to just ask questions and be curious for about 2 weeks and write everything down. And then he was like, after 2 weeks, I want you to come to me with a project that's actually going to make our company more efficient. And then that was how I got involved in the business. And it was pretty cool, because I think one of the unique things about our organization is we have a culture for continuous improvement, and really embraces people questioning why and how to make things better.
I like that.
Really, yeah. So we started there, and then I actually moved in. Our company, we have the automotive side, but we also do a lot of co-packing for a lot of other companies too. And so I actually joined our contract packaging division as kind of a technical sales rep. And then we had some opportunities on the automotive side, and I was like, Dad, I want to get on the automotive side. So then I moved over to the automotive side as a sales manager. And then I remember I was complaining about our product development, and my dad told me, hey, I'm tired of listening to you complain. They now report to you. He's like, you fix it.
This is your problem now. Make it right.
And then it really just kind of, as I grew within the organization and grew within my role, it went from, a sales manager to overseeing, sales and product development, and then eventually marketing. And then, really, one of the coolest things was, my dad and I got to experience, a succession plan together. And, one of the sad parts of our organization is, my grandfather passed away at an early age, and my uncle passed away at an early age. So being, third generation, actually fourth generation to be in the business.
Oh, wow.
And actually run it. This was the first time that we got to celebrate a structured succession plan without, a tragedy. And it was pretty neat to be able to share that with my dad and the organization.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and that happened in January of 2020. And then I look at my dad, said to him, wow, your timing's amazing. I got to take over the company during a pandemic.
Here you go. I set everything up for you. Oh, wait a sec. Yeah. The world's going through a pandemic. Oh, it's yours now.
Yeah. I said, like I always tell him, in human years, everything is by one, but I told him my experience this year was more like dog years. It was more like, it felt like 7 years in 1 year.
So with the Malco lineup, I mean, you guys your direction with that product line is for, of course, detailers, but you also have where you have the cleaners, the compounds, the polishers. I mean, you have the full spectrum of products that accommodate the end user detailer and the box truck guys. You guys have box trucks on the road that sell products as well, right? With different routes and
Yeah,
such.
very much. I mean, we started, and our history starts with, distributors and the professional in mind. So, and that's really what drives our business. And we understand that our success almost starts and ends with the distributor. And so we've been really fortunate to have a lot of distributors currently and in the past that have really helped build the brand for us. And I think one of the things that's neat now is, the distributors is what set us up for success in the future. And we can't ever forget that and know that. But what we've also been able to do now is supplement them with marketing and brand building. And so much of the brand building, happened at the local level. And now we can actually supplement it nationally. But when we do it, we have to understand that it's always has to be in a way that's beneficial, that supports and makes our distribution network successful. And I think even, you and I, you saw that,
Yeah.
Just from our relationship and how we've developed it over the years. I mean, we didn't have strong distribution in Florida, in kind of central South Florida. And, you didn't really know about our brand until we started talking. And it really even started, I think, with, Tony Leeds and one of our distributors from New England. And, he brought you over and we really just hit it off just talking, and so that's the piece is, if you go to New England, or in different areas where we have strong distribution, people know our brand. But then if we don't have a strong distributor, people don't know our brand. And we're able to change that now. And that's really what we're focused on is how do we change that so people know, about our brand.
And I'm sure social media has helped that tremendously for you guys. The
Oh,
evolution of marketing, that's helped get that branding out there a lot more.
No, exactly. And even just, you think about everybody has a cell phone. They've had it forever. But, every product has a QR code that you scan and it takes you right to a page to, with videos and how to use the products. 20 years ago, you didn't have that.
No, they send me a catalog.
Yeah.
That was the best you could do.
Yeah.
Send me a catalog. And then you wait like a couple of weeks because mail was super slow.
Well, it's still slow now.
It's true. Especially with all the storms that are going on up there. Everything is just,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's definitely a huge difference in regards to, the branding and everything and then getting that name out, especially in the areas that it may not be as well known.
No, and really it's exciting now. I mean, we're really focused about building our marketing and digital team that can help build the brand, make people aware of it, which is only going to benefit, our distributors because it makes it stronger for them to sell. And
now go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
You guys also cater to not just the detail industry, but the body shop side of that as well, correct?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so we actually have a body shop, and then we also do marine as well. And so we've kind of, seen how there's many different channels that we can play in the, in the detailing industry. But one of the cool things that I think is, and what's really happened over the last, probably 5 to 7 years, and with the IDA is, detailing is just becoming, it's mainstream. And I think that's what's so exciting is, we're able to, the whole industry is just rising and becoming stronger. And that's a really neat place to be. And, 20 years ago, you looked at competition and you didn't really want to, work with them. And now I think the case is you actually want to work with your competitors because, whether it's, a detailing brand or, whether it's chemicals, accessories, pads, we're realizing that, the industry and all of the different manufacturers are just so much stronger working together than trying to compete against each other.
The same idea with, what we talked about earlier with getting out and working with other detailers, seeing the different approaches that they have to get the same end result. but it's just the curiosity of that, and then learning it and seeing it. You're always picking up something new. So with the manufacturers kind of doing the same thing, without messing with the proprietary kind of things that are theirs, but still picking up on something a little different, like, oh, I could do that, or maybe something in-house, maybe with
No,
how the
exactly.
management is done, or the structure of the business overall outside of the chemicals.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, one of the cool things of, I have a lot more time now to network and just talk with different manufacturers and how they're doing things and, what's going on. And, I think it actually just makes all of us stronger.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, and especially, I mean, I the amount of knowledge that you guys and what you guys have going on there is just amazing. Not everybody gets the opportunity to walk through your facility, but if they ever have, or if anything, if you had a video like what do they call them, the 3D 360 Google videos, if you
Yeah.
did something like that of your facility, I don't feel that would do any justice compared to how many levels and layers of things you got going on there. It's just
Yeah. We're
amazing.
pretty diversified.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
So with the detailing products, talk to me about how you guys do your R&D, and tell me and tell the viewers about how you guys have the segregated area with the detail space to bring in cars and do the testing and all that.
Yeah. So it probably always starts with, so we always look at it in two ways. We either look at it as what's a problem that a detailer is struggling with, or how can we make, their life easier? It always starts there because, it's all about labor and efficiency. And so if we can do something that's solving a problem, that's probably the most important thing that kind of drives our R&D. And then it's always about how do you take an existing product and make it better. And so, the how to solve a problem really starts with being able to get out into the field. So it's whether it's working with our distributors and going and seeing their customers, or just going and watching someone work, and just asking questions. So I think being really inquisitive is where it starts. And then the other great piece is, we're really, we have over 110 distributors in North America, and then we have another 70 internationally that we sell to, all over the world.
Wow.
So we really get the benefit of also, our, like, even on the international side, seeing what's going on in different parts of the, in the world, and bringing that back. And so that probably drives things for us the most on the innovation side. And then the second piece is, what's great is it's just being able to bring cars back into our detail bay and playing, I mean, a lot of it is just playing with product,
Yeah.
And seeing how you can use it, what are its shortcomings. We have a number of local detailers that we go to and just sit and talk, and we'll show them a product and get their feedback.
That's one of the biggest things I did notice, is that you don't hold back on being able to get product in different detailers' hands, based on their, geographic area too, like me being in Florida with the humidity and the heat index, versus maybe California or Vegas where it's super dry, and things of that, or where you're at, obviously being cold, and all those variables play into, the production of being able to dial in on one product that's going to be mass produced to go everywhere
And work for everyone.
yeah, whether it just be here in the US or across the water somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing I do like, that you guys have really did, no holding back, like, oh, here's a good person to trust that can test our product, that we get good feedback and not
Yeah.
BS'd on, and that's that.
And it's just listening and not being defensive. I think,
Yeah.
one of the things is, it's like, we're asking someone just to be able to share, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what worked, what didn't, because we can then take it and go work with our chemists to tweak it and make it better.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because there are some cases I've even experienced to where you give, the product didn't live up to the expectations of the results that they made it for, and you express that, and people take offense to it, because I get it, they have high expectations, they want it to work so bad that they get that negative feedback, that it's not necessarily that they're being negative towards you, they're just being negative towards the fact that it's not working, but they take it
Yeah.
out on you. They're like, damn, But yeah, and that happens. It's chemistry, right? I mean, not everything's going to perform right out the gate. You have to go through so many renditions of things sometimes.
No, I mean, like what, I mean, it's like our Epic line, which I think really that probably was the biggest shift for us from when we went from like, kind of marketing in the past to marketing in the future. That kind of set us up for really, driving our branding and on the social media. But I mean, that's an example of where, we knew we needed to get and develop, a dual action product line, something
Yeah.
that worked with the flexes and the rupes and all that. And that was something where, I mean, we basically put a skunk works team together and in 7 months launched basically like 5 new products a couple of years ago. And, it's interesting because we did that and then we could be working on a new compound or something else and it might take a year and a half, because a lot of it is trial and error and just understanding little tweaks that impact the chemistry and the performance.
Yeah, no, and I definitely think that was a great positive turning point of evolution for the Malco brand once you guys introduced that Epic line, because it opened up not just for the correction side of it, but then you were able to get into the coating side and on all these other products that provide treatments to other surfaces, but as a more premium approach too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that, I mean, even like what was the most recent one that I really enjoyed? Oh, the leather coat. That stuff is badass. I mean, to be able to have a conditioner and a sealer all in one and to make it just as easy as traditional leather conditioner application and all the perks of, the no grease and all the stuff that most people look for that customers complain about, and have all that and at a very fair price. I mean, you hit the mark on that one.
No,
That again,
thanks.
that being part of the Epic line, that complements the remainder of the line because most of those, if not all of the products, hit the mark for that reason.
No, and we always are really cautious on what we put in that Epic line because we feel like it's a premium performance line of products. Yeah. So I mean, it has to be a special product before we put it in there.
Now, I can tell you that I know something that will make it even that much more over the top of me because you guys are there right now. But to put it that much more over the top, if you just took and put those Reflection Artist pads right next to the compounds and polishes with that kit, then it would be the best winning combo that's out there for you.
They do work well.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Well,
what was picked is good.
No. And but that's the beauty is like, that's where, I mean, everybody makes fantastic pads. I mean, and I mean, and we work with Buff and Shine, and I mean, you guys make awesome pads. I mean, we also work with Lake Country, and we actually, people might not know this, but we actually make our own pads too. Yep. No, you're right. I mean, one of the things when we did the testing of our product is we really made sure that it worked with everybody's pads. But I have to agree with you. Like, if they were the reflection pads, I mean, it might just take it over the top.
No, that's one good thing is, I mean, between both companies as a detailer, I mean, you can't go wrong. It's just finding the right fit for the scenario. And sometimes that's what the difference is. It's formulation, right?
Yeah, and it can be even just, a tweak in our formulation makes it work better or worse, because, it's got, if the pad has, is pulling more airflow and it's going to dry out the compound, then you need to have more lubricity in the compound.
Yeah. And they're tools, right? They could all be changed, altered, and manipulated. The one biggest tool that works the best though is the person behind the machine, the person making the decision on those combinations.
No, agreed. And I think that's what's so cool is like just in the industry and even what like IDA has done in terms of being able to drive knowledge and training. And that's really, I mean, I think this like groundswell of legitimacy for the whole detailing industry is what's so exciting. And it just every year it continues to build and get stronger and the connections get stronger. And that's really what's, I think everybody's winning because of it.
No, I agree. And speaking of with the IDA and you guys is with Malco and their involvement, I mean, you have how many team members that are IDA involved? Either they're certified detailer, skills validation, and you've got some recognized trainers too, if I'm correct.
Yeah. So we actually, yeah. So we worked really hard. We've been involved with the IDA probably for, it's probably 5 or 6 years, part of the Founders Club. But and last year, one of our key initiatives was really to get, all of the sales and marketing members, certified in the IDA, whether it's, starting at a kind of a lower level all the way to RT. And we actually finished all of it like towards the end of March. You would see, we redid our detail bay, only to, planning on having classes and stuff like that, only to, get quarantined and shut down.
Yeah. We're ready to go. Oh, we can't invite nobody.
Yeah.
It's like getting prepped for a big party that nobody shows for.
Exactly. So we're ready to really house some parties as soon as
Yeah,
COVID's over.
that's cool. So you did redo the detail bay?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we redid the floors, we put new cabinetry in.
Oh, wow.
We've got a paint booth in there now.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's actually it's really turned out nice. And then we redid our whole conference center that walks right into it. So it's really set up for training, testing. We got kind of like marketing on one side of it and the lab on the other. And, they're always kind of meeting in there to work on something new.
Well, I mean, the plus side is, if anything, you could always, be proactive and just utilize that space for your marketing videos. I mean, which I think you have. Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing that a lot now. I mean, we probably are pushing out new videos, every other week.
Yeah. And I like what you guys have been doing with those too. They've been pretty neat the way you guys have been putting that together. I don't know who's in charge of that, but kudos to them.
No, it's it's really we got so my sister Lauren, and then Jason Yard and Bill Kleinis, they really drive it. And then we have a really good kind of editing guy named Michael who just, drives it and puts it all together.
So, since we didn't have SEMA, haven't had any shows, what something that you could speak about, of course, what is something that maybe that is new from Malco that may have been introduced at a show, but unfortunately we didn't have the shows, or in the works that you could speak on that's exciting for you guys with going into this year?
Yeah, so actually I probably can't share it yet, but we're actually having a product that we're going to launch called Accelerate, that's going to be coming out like about middle of March, and we're really excited about that. And with that, we're also launching a new website. So
cool.
I talked to the marketing team, they're like in the last 2 weeks before it launches. So I don't know if they're excited about it right now.
No, because it's crunch time and they've got a
deadline. No. It's like, but it's really exciting because it's really going to set us up to bring all of our, training and material all into one place that's just a lot more user friendly. And we're really excited about the launch of, our Accelerate product, which is going to kind of be a one-step product. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we always look at how do you reduce the time, if it's a quick detail that someone needs to get out, so.
So are you able to elaborate on that a little bit more about like the purpose of it and what it does? And
so it's probably, so it would be targeted towards, used cars, refinished cars where, a dealership's trying to get it out. In a quick that will actually allow you to get, some, remove imperfections and, kind of car wash scratches and stuff like that. At the same time, getting a really slick gloss.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
any protection left behind with it?
Yeah. So
nice.
It's gonna be 30 to 60 days, depending on if you're in Ohio where we don't see the sun, or Florida, where you see the sun every day.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be promoted towards that kind of industry with, used cars, flipping cars, wholesale, things of that nature, hopefully if their lots moving, shaking as it should, 30 to 60 days shouldn't be a problem with turn and burn on a car.
No, exactly.
In their inventory.
Yeah.
So that would be great then, because a lot of these guys that are getting into detailing or work at a place like that, it'll allow them to have a product that basically performs at a level that allows the inventory to be shined up and sellable and presentable.
Yeah. And we're excited because it gives our, our distributors something new to show, something new to talk about. So it always just, people always want to know what's new.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. And Yeah, and we're really, probably the biggest thing is we're really looking forward, as soon as we can to start traveling and getting trainings back, on the
Oh,
calendar to work with people, together.
yeah, I'm 100% agree with you on that. It's good because it's part of me has been like, okay, I've been able to focus on my life, my home life, my business, and not have anything to do with traveling.
Yeah.
Which was nice because like the past 6 years it hasn't been that way, and then all of a sudden it was like boom, breaks, and now I'm at home, which has been fine and it's been great. But now I'm getting that itch again to be like, I gotta get on the road. I gotta go. Like I want to see people. I missed this part of that industry. Like I got to get out there.
Yeah, and this industry is such a tight-knit group that it's just that's the piece that brings us together. And I think it's what has allowed us to get through the pandemic. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, hope's not a strategy, but I was really hoping, that we'd be coming down to Florida for mobile detail, and it was just, in mobile tech, and it was just, it just wasn't going to happen.
No, I know. I was looking forward to that show too. I was like, man, if any of the shows, because Florida being so wide open, we would have this opportunity for all of us to get together, regardless of whatever the terms and conditions are based on COVID, but still
Yeah.
have opportunity, right? And then
Yep.
shot down. Like,
Yeah.
but we do have, they have the Mobile Tech Vegas. That might be an opportunity there, and then hopefully SEMA.
Yeah.
But
I'm crossing my fingers for SEMA. I think we have a good shot for that one.
yeah, yeah, I'm crossing my fingers for that too. I don't know how the stipulations are going to be with everybody because there's so many people shoulder to shoulder. But
Which is so true.
it's there's you can only avoid so much of it and put so much into place, and then a lot of people just don't care either. They're not.
No, and that's the thing is it's just everybody has a different level of risk and a different level of appreciation of what COVID means to them.
Yeah. Now, with that said, I mean, have you been in the playing field of providing products for COVID during, a lot of when it first ramped up back in, what was that second quarter or so, second and third quarter of last year?
Yeah, so we got into it on and helped some people with some sanitizers and stuff like that, and actually we produced some some hand sanitizer that we actually gave to every one of our employees. So one of the neat things is, we created a batch just to be able to have, so all of our employees, especially when you couldn't get anything, where we gave everybody a bottle and, a couple bottles that they could refill just so they had it around the facility. So I think, we did that. And then we're actually working on a whole disinfectant line that we're pretty excited about. That's actually launching in a couple months. But, on that side with the EPA regulations, it's amazing how, some states it takes 6 months to get approval, and some states it takes, a month.
Wow.
So it's not as simple as just launching a product, when you have to get state approvals and government, and the EPA involved. But we're really excited because I do believe that, just cleanliness and disinfecting, I mean, it's kind of like, it's just going to be around, even when COVID's gone, people are still going to be thinking about, it's like when my kids drop food on the floor. I'm not sure the 5-second rule works anymore.
No, but that's so true because it was kind of at a point, prior to COVID where it just was a lacking kind of area that people didn't really care. It just was like, some people did, some people didn't. And now
you just took it for granted.
Yes. Now everybody's on the same page. So it's a little different.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be just like a change for everyone. So we're pretty excited about being able to launch that, and we'll have wipes and stuff like that and canisters that people can use. So it's exciting to be able to do that.
And that would be for in common use or automotive.
Yeah. So that's one of the neat things is when we designed it, we made it so it'll work on automotive, interiors and all the different, materials that are in an automotive car, but then it also will work great if you want to have it in your showroom just to be able to wipe down the counter and, just high touch areas.
Nice. Now, are these products involved, or did you get involved with the whole CDC approval to add an extra badge on it, or just?
Yeah, so it actually, so it's all through the EPA.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so that's kind of the governing body that drives the approvals to be able to say that it kills, bacteria and viruses and COVID.
Okay.
So it's working with that, and it was pretty excited to be able to get, get a certification that says we can produce it in our facility and start bringing it to market. So.
Good. That's good to know. I mean, just, there's so many people mass producing this stuff that who knows what and where it's coming from. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
and a
you've
lot's
seen
coming,
that.
and a lot's coming from overseas, and you don't know the specs. So, I mean, the fact that it's, made in our facility, we know where it's getting sourced, it's certified by the, the EPA. Those are all big things. And, we'll be able to provide consistent supply to our industry,
Yeah, that's huge.
So we're excited about it.
Good. Good. Yeah, I know that right now with everybody, that's a huge thing for just having that on the counter, just good
Yeah.
old-fashioned hand sanitizer. I had who was it? Oh, Chris West, Solution Finish. Real funny story. I made an order and he ended up sending me these two little, I think they were like 4 or 8 ounce bottles with a twist lid on them, and they were hand sanitizers. You got to try this. You got to try this. I guess he has a friend or buddy or somebody he knows that has these old barrels, like whiskey barrels and bourbon barrels, and they were using those to produce hand sanitizer. Getting whatever, I guess they were storing the alcohol in there or whatever it may be, but it was absorbing that smell. And I would put it on my hand and sanitize my hands. And it was like I just left the bar and spilled the drink on myself. Fresh, like
so use it in the morning.
Yeah, a little bit of aftershave, go for the old Bruder Stetson feeling. But
just don't use. Yeah, it's like when you're walking out to your car at 9 at night, don't use it.
yeah. If I were pulled over, they would definitely probably pull a breathalyzer test on me. But it was just funny because every time I think about the hand sanitizer, my mind goes to that specific product that was shown to me and I use, and I still have it in the office because it's just a little bit. I like to show it to people because it's
That's
so
really cool. So did he send you any of the bourbon or alcohol that they make in the barrels too?
That's where I think it came from. I don't know how it all came out, but it has that smell and it's strong, it's a weird mixture. It's got like that bourbon barrel smell along with the alcohol sanitizer.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
But yeah, it was interesting. I keep it on my desk. But yeah, so I mean, as far as trying to pick up from where we left off, we kind of sidetracked on that one. With everything you guys have going on and going into this year and finishing out the year with hopefully SEMA, if you do start opening up, you guys are going to be an official training facility for both Malco, and I believe you're going to get to be a recognized facility for being able to host IDA stuff as well, correct?
That's the goal. And really, we want to be able to drive and, host people here, whether it's, having distributors being able to bring their customers here, or just even open it up to allow customers to, end users and detailers to come learn and use our facility and really, learn, from an industry expert. And so we're really excited about being able to eventually do that.
Good. Yeah, that's huge, especially up in that area. I mean, I know that there's, in your surrounding areas, there's some other detail companies out and about, but still being able to facilitate that, especially on such a large playing field that you guys are as a chemical manufacturer.
Yeah.
Are you going to offer maybe tours just while people are there, just to kind of
that's my favorite thing to do is giving a tour of the facility and having people actually see, kind of like how it's made.
Yeah, it's breathtaking. Like literally, like it's like wow, like that's a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's neat because I think people, it's kind of like you said, there's a lot of people that don't know about Malco, our history, and even our size and scope. So it's like, I'll have people come and they're like, oh, I figured you were, a small 10,000 square foot manufacturing facility, and they walk up and they just see, this building that just keeps going and going and going.
We're going to start upstairs and work our way down.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're tired.
Exactly.
We'll stop for
That's
snacks
like
and drinks.
make sure you have your Fitbit so you get your steps in. So we're really excited about being able to really just kind of take our partnership with the IDA and leveraging our detailing facility to really just help the whole industry. At the end of the day, we want to just be one more place where someone can go and learn. And at the end of and we're going to learn from them too. I mean, every time, I'm around a detailer and I think it's just important to listen, because every time you talk to them, you hear an idea that could either be something that helps us in our training, sharing it with other detailers that are going to make their business stronger, or it could turn into the next great, product launch.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Do you have anything as far as any advice or words of wisdom for any of the people that may be watching, whether it's from a detailer perspective, getting into the business, or maybe somebody wanted to become a distributor, whatever it may be? Is there anything that you could leave with them, with people watching, that would be a good word?
So probably the first thing I would share is always be confident to ask a question. It doesn't matter who you're talking to or anything like that. You're going to find in this industry that 99% of the people in the industry just want to help and make the industry better. So I think people don't always, you might be like, oh my God, whether it's you yourself or Rennie, or it could be Bob from PNS or myself here at Malco. All of us care about just making the industry better. So probably just know that it's okay to ask, introduce yourself if you have a question. I mean, all of us started early on in the industry not knowing what we were doing. We all had to learn it. So I think it's just be confident to go ask a question and know that people want to help make each and everybody better. And we might learn something from that person who's asking the question. So I would say it's, just be comfortable to know that, people aren't, I don't think our industry really judges. They just want to help and make it better.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a huge thing. And that's one of the things that, even with me meeting, like when you brought up Rennie, it's funny because when I met him and when I went through training with him back in 2014, that was one of the things that he had said about me. Was the biggest thing was I was very inquisitive.
Yeah.
And that's you have to ask the questions. Even if you're asking the same question from 3 different directions, you may get 3 different answers, but that's fine, because you got 3 different answers that weren't all alike, and it still fills the void on the answer.
Yeah, and that answer, it depends on the situation and what the challenge is. I mean, you might have a product that works, you bring a car in and there's an issue with an interior, and maybe it's an organic stain. Well, I mean, we spend a lot of time working on our interior cleaners here at Malco, so it could just be understanding how do you remove that stain, and how do you ask the customer what it is to learn about it so you can more efficiently remove it. So it just, you never know how you might take something and apply it in your business.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody had technical questions or anything, I know that you're always open for people to talk to you, but who would be the guy that they would want to talk to there at Malco for anything about the products and how they work and application and all that?
Yeah. So really we have a pretty strong cast. I would say, John Miller and Bill Fairchild. John's our national sales manager for the Malco brand, and Bill Fairchild works for him as well. Those two have just seen everything. And then we have Buddy Dunphy, who we actually have our own distribution network here in Ohio. We call it Malco Ohio. So he used to work on the Malco team, and he took over the whole distribution and is kind of the sales manager. But those 3 are just, the amount of knowledge they have and what they've seen being on the road. And then internally, we also have, Jason Yard, our product manager, and Bill Kleinis, who works on the product team and really does all the testing and training. And he's one of our RTs. And then on the international side, we have Louis Vernon, who's, this is you can tell he's itching to get out and start traveling. He's never been home this much in his entire life.
That's the position when you play the international role
Yeah,
for any
yeah.
company. You're never in
Yeah.
just one place. You're always bouncing around. That's
Exactly.
the fun part.
But I mean, that group right there, the amount of knowledge that they've seen and just the amount of miles and all over the country and the world. I mean, you know, if that's that group that's just accessible. And you know, and then myself, you know, I have a lot of knowledge, but I'll be the first to tell you that they know more than me, you know, so I'm always happy to take a call. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to go find it out and then I'll call the person back. So.
Nice. And that's the key to it right there. And that's the beauty of the Malco team is you have a whole support team. So whether you're emailing them or calling, you always have one of those many names that will at least respond and give you the answer you're looking for, or find the right answer for you and do the homework and help you out.
And then the other thing is I mean, that's internal, but then when you look at our network of distributors, I mean, they are really knowledgeable about our products, and, you know, many of them carry other competitive products too. And that they just, you know, if you think about it, if they're calling on, you know, 10 to 30 detailers a day or dealerships, I mean, they just have this wealth of street knowledge that is so important and probably is what allowed us to be successful, you know, historically and going forward. So, you know, a lot of what we learn is, you know, we go train them and then they say, well, I'm going to go take it to my, you know, 5 top customers, and we learn from them.
And I like that you do that. There's other companies that do that as well, to where you have your distributor network, but you don't limit them and say, hey, you're only carrying Malco. If that's it, you're off. It's, you've got Malco as the brand, but then you've got some other lines in between that the market demands. And
exactly,
whether the profit margin be less or more, the point is you're still providing something that was a demand, and it does give that distributor, like you said, the street creds of knowledge on other products to compare to. So when somebody jumps on the truck and says, well, I use this and it's not doing that, it gives them the opportunity to have some variable answer to come back versus, well, we just know Malco. Sorry, I don't know. I can't help you.
Well, don't get me wrong. I want every distributor to just carry Malco, but the reality is, I know our distributor, you know, our distributor network is successful because they understand the needs of their customers and their market. And we might be their primary line, or we're even just, you know, working with a new distributor that's building and we're earning their trust and they're earning ours. But you can always learn. And I think the days of, you know, 20 years ago where it was like, oh, if you're not a Malco distributor, you're not loyal to us. I mean, those days are past. I mean, it kind of just goes back to really understanding and being confident in our brand. You know?
Yeah. And I think a lot of, to what you just said, a lot of brands are like that. Those days are past. And that was a mentality of a certain time frame.
Yeah.
And then as we've evolved as individual companies, and of course, as an industry, the light at the end of the tunnel got brighter to know that, hey, we can work together, and it doesn't have to be like that. And it actually works out even more so.
And a lot of times it makes, you know, everybody stronger. You know, at the end of the day, I want a strong, successful distributor, because if they're strong and successful, they're going to be able to invest and grow and represent Malco how we want it. And on the flip side, they want us to be a strong and you know, a successful brand, because it's going to benefit them. So it really is, mutually, it just benefits both of us so much. And I think that's what is one of the things that's really allowed us to be successful, is we understand that it's about working together and growing together with our distribution network. Now with, you know, whether it's influencers or digital marketing, it's about raising everybody up rather than just, you know, having one group win and someone else lose. It has to be a win-win proposition.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's well said. Yeah. So coming to an end, but you know, with full circle on and everything. I mean, here's the thing. If you haven't tried Malco, they have a website, they have distributors across the US. Find a way to get your hands on the products, to give the Epic line. You know, if I was going to suggest any of their products to try right out the gate, start with the Epic line of products, and then, you know, work your way from there on different stuff. And even as the distributor aspect, there's opportunities on either end because of the way that their company is structured. Like you had heard Seth say, I mean, it's a big support team. Whether you're a detailer, distributor, it doesn't matter. They're there to help you grow and to help your business be more effective, more efficient. And so definitely give them a try. And thank you very much, Seth. You are number 16 to
All
our
right.
podcast.
Top 20.
Listen, I'm trying. I'm really trying to build this out, once a week. I know, during the beginning of the pandemic when Rennie had got involved with his podcast, I mean, he's up there. I think he's almost in the hundreds, but that's a lot to build towards that, doing these podcasts and watching other people, even outside of our industry that are in the triple digits with their podcasts. It's like, wow, and we're doing it once a week and not a whole lot of work involved. It's fun. But, finding the time to set it aside and do that and to be able to gain those kind of numbers. So I'm pretty proud of that 16 number, but eventually we'll get there. And I hope to have you on in the future with, some more stuff, some more new products and, and be in a better situation to where maybe we can do it live out of your office.
I would love to do it live. I'll be happy to fly down to see you, and I'd love to host you here, and we could do it here at Malco too.
Awesome.
So. Yeah, and I know Bill and Jason are really excited to join you, I think like in a month. They're coming on to talk with you and join the podcast. So I know they're really excited.
Yeah, and then we can get more technical with them. So
yeah.
Awesome.
So I have to tell one really funny story that happened to me about detailing actually over the weekend. So over the holiday, my kids are home, you don't go anywhere. So I was, and my wife, Nora, was like ready for me to just get the kids out of the house. She was like, just leave, go somewhere. So I was like, I'm going to take them to Malco and we're going to detail a car. So how
old are they?
What?
How old are they?
8 and 4. Okay. So I brought them to Malco. We're detailing my car and I just burn into my daughter, like, whatever you do when you drop a microfiber, give it to me and I'll give you a new one. Okay. So I was just like, I don't want to scratch the car. It's like, it's my baby. I love it. So this past weekend, my wife and my sister are like, hey, let's take, the kids, we're going to go detail a car. It'll be something to do. I was like, sure. So they're detailing my, so they're detailing my wife's car and Hannah walks over to me and says, hey, here's a microfiber, can you get me a new one? And I said, oh no, you can use it. And she said, oh, no. You told me I have to get a new, microfiber. And I said, oh no, that's because you were detailing my car. This is mom's car.
That's funny. Kind of messed up, but it's funny.
Yeah, but she was right. I mean, she was like, she was listening. So that's it was awesome. Fun to train, the next generation of detailers.
Yeah. And she's, how old is she?
She's 8.
She's 8, so she's the older one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. And then you have my son who, so we have a product called Showroom Shine that's like a quick detailer. And I turn over and I think he killed 3 22-ounce bottles of Showroom Shine. I look over and he's just sitting there like spraying it like a squirt gun.
Now, if everybody used the product like that, it would be a great thing.
Oh, we would be growing.
You would have vats of just that. That'd be your number one seller.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's awesome. Oh, man. Yeah, my daughter, she's a little over 3. She's not quite there yet, but she likes coming to the shop and getting a little cart in the showroom area and in the storefront and just filling it with random stuff just for fun.
That's awesome.
She thinks she's shopping.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to start showing her.
Yeah.
But, well, cool. Well, thank you, Seth. I appreciate you being on and taking your time out of your day. And again, we appreciate it, Buff and Shine, being on the Reflection Artist Live podcast. It's definitely nice to have you on and definitely worth the time for sure.
No, well, thank you so much. And I think, if people have questions, I mean, they should know that, everybody here, myself, anybody else at Malco, we're accessible. So,
what's
if
a good email, website, all that good stuff for them to reach out?
So truthfully, my email is sethg@malcopro.com. And, my cell is 330-329-8177. I always believe, I hate going on and, a website and not being able to access or find anyone, or how do you call someone, so I always believe, you never know who's on the other end of a phone call and where they'll be in life. And, it's like, our job is just to make everybody better and more successful. So, and, you go to our website and, or on Facebook, and, we can share, if you have a question about product, getting a hold of our team or one of our distributors, we just want to make sure we can answer questions and help people be more successful. So
That's huge. You're giving out your personal information as, the CEO and running the show. A lot of times you don't see that. So that's awesome. Thank you.
yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for everybody for watching. And Seth, you have a good rest of your day and we'll catch up soon.
No, thank you. Have a great
All
day.
right. Take care.